everyone, Katarina from Bloom and Passion here. Thank you so much for watching my video today. This card was inspired by Sam from Mixed Up Craft. She called hers the frame flip card. When you flip it out, it reveals this beautiful frame that lets you have a look into the scene behind it. I think it's absolutely stunning. Now, I have changed a couple of things about mine. First of all, the size of the card. Mine is 4 3/4 inches in height, for the simple reason that the cardstock, this beautiful pink cardstock I used, is from the pack of little cardstocks. Now, these measure 9.5 inches in width. So to get the two longer pieces out of one cardstock, I had to cut this down in half. And that way it measures 4 3/4 inches. If you're familiar with the little cardstock, only one piece of each color comes in a pack. So there's only one pink and there's one purple and one lilac and so on and so on. So I always try to change the measurements of my cards to fit so I don't have as much of a waste. This way I could get the card out of 2 pieces of pinks, otherwise I may have needed 3 or more. so this just works for me. The other thing that I changed, I added these little floating elements in here. Do you see the little fairies? This is what it looks from above. There. Now if I close it, it reveals these little fairies, like as if they were flying in there. I think it's just lovely. It works well with the scene behind it. And the third thing that I changed, instead of writing my message on the back, I have created this secret pocket that reveals this little note card, and this is where I will be putting my message. And you can obviously write on 2 sides, but that's where I will be stamping or printing a message on. There is multiple ways to display this card. You can display it this way, or with the little scene showing, like in this position, or you can stretch it out even more, and then it reveals that beautiful scene behind it. So the papers and the cliparts are from a shop called Pretty Graphic Design, and these are digital files, so I had to print and cut them myself. But you can use any papers, any cliparts, or even stamps and dies that you have to create a card like this. I think this would suit so many occasions, so many themes. You really don't have to use digital papers. It's just I wanted to go with the fairy theme, and I didn't have anything in my stash like stamps and dies, so that's why I decided to go digital. Now on this one I chose this lovely floral pattern paper. I'm gonna show you a different version I made. This one I used this beautiful bright orange and the stars paper. The scene on the background is exactly the same. Okay, and today I'm going to use this gorgeous blue one. I think this is my favorite blue from the whole paper pack. It doesn't come in every single edition. Sometimes the shades change, but I really love this one. I'm glad I found a couple of these in my stash still. So let me just grab my scoreboard and we'll get to work here. Okay, so first of all, to make the base of the card, we will need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 11.5 by 4 3/4. Or you can make it a different height if you want to, obviously. But this one is 4 3/4, and on the longer side I'm going to score down at 6 inches and 8.5, and I like to go back on the other side and score again at 6 and 8.5, because this will be folded back and forth, so I'm not sure which score line will fold which way just yet. And the same again on the other one, 6 and 8.5. And then we need 2 smaller pieces of cardstock with the same height, 4 3/4 by 6.5. Okay, so score this one at 1/2 inch and 3. Again, back on the other side, 1/2 inch and 3. And the same for this one. No. We'll also need a piece of cardstock. This one measures 4 3/4 by 6, and I cut a little frame inside it by leaving 3/4 of a frame on each side, measuring 3/4 in from the end, draw a line all around and just cut out the middle piece using your craft knife. I cut this out electronically because I had my silhouette cutting machine on anyway for all the clip arts, so I just cut this out in there too, but it's quite easy to do just using your craft knife. Now I cut 2 of these out and I'm going to glue them together because this cardstock I'm using is not just that heavy. So this will add a good strength to the frame. I'm going to stick this together and just give them a few minutes to. For these ones in here, I'm going to fold one in and the other one out. The same one on here. And I'm just gonna do the same with the smaller ones. Fold in and fold this one the other way. But with this little tab, I like to fold it both ways. Make sure it's well burnished. Now, taking the 2 larger ones, this is what the shape of the card base is going to be. Now, if you don't want to have the pocket in here at the back, you can just add glue onto the whole of this and glue them together. But because I want to create that pocket, I'm going to take my quick grab glue. I'm using the Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue and just add a little bit on 3 of the sides. Okay, well, 2 sides and the bottom of the card. Keeps clogging up. And I'm going to add this one just to this edge here. This is going to be the opening to my pocket, so I'm just making sure that the glue grabs. And okay, so at this point I like to add the scene on here. Now this is a piece of paper that was also included in those digital files. I just added the little clip arts. Again, you can stamp any kind of a scene out there, any kind of a scenery. The reason I like to add this now because of the pocket. If I didn't do this now, I know that somewhere along the way I would start adding things upside down. You can see there's an image printed on this side of the paper. I ran out of ink, so I had to start reprinting them again. So here we go, and that's perfect. Now this image in here will always remind me which way is the right side up for the card to go. I also printed out this background image one more time, and I just got 2 pieces of cardstock out here. Now this one in the middle, this one measures 4.5 by 5 3/4, and these ones are 4.5 by 2 1/4, one on each side. Okay, so now I'm going to take these 2 pieces of cardstock and I'm going to glue the larger end, not where the tab is, this larger side, onto this wing of the card. Okay, now just be careful because this one is going to be 1/2 inch longer than this back panel, so don't add your glue onto this bit in case you add it too much and then you mess up your card. So I'm just going to add my glue onto this wing in here. I'm going to try to line this up perfectly. Should. It should line up like this here. Now the collal glue that I'm using dries really nice and really strong, but it just takes a little minute to set, so I'm just going to give it a little while to make sure it's not going to start falling apart when I'm attaching the other pieces to the card. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to attach the frame onto the front. The only place I'm going to add my glue are these little tabs. I'm just going to make sure they fold easily both ways. Okay. Now, the only place I'm going to add my glue is this 1/2 inch of a tab on both sides. And this should line up perfectly with the edge of those tabs. Now this should line up perfectly with the edge of those tabs. And again, I'm just going to give this a little minute to grab. Okay, so the frame should line up perfectly with the edge of the card. I just give it a little minute to make sure the glue dries and the frame won't move, and I'm decorating the inside of the card. Okay, so the next piece of cardstock where you will stamp or print or write the main message for the front of the card, this one measures 3 inches by 4 1/4, and I'm going to cut this down in the middle at 2 1/8 inches. Going to make sure this cuts nice and straight, like so. So now I'm going to glue this on here on each side of the card, just focusing on the 3 sides of the frame to have that equal blue frame between the white frame and the message or the white piece of cardstock. So, just like so. And once this grabs, this other side should line up just perfectly with it, revealing that beautiful message in here. Okay, so I just printed this message. I just typed up myself, hope you have a very happy birthday, and added some of those cliparts onto it just to decorate it a bit. But as I said, you can stamp, you can use anything that you have in your stash to create something similar. Fairy theme or not, obviously, it doesn't have to be fairies. And now you can see how this works. Shows the lovely hope you have a very happy birthday message, and then that message will flip to the back, revealing this beautiful scene in here. Now I have a couple of things that I'm going to decorate with. I have already printed a few little fairies onto the background, but I'm going to add one sitting in here. So I've added foam tape onto the back of this. Just will add a little bit of a dimension to it. You don't need to do that, but I think I just like it in there. Now you may notice that the fairies that I'm adding in here have this light blue background. I added a little like a sky blue background to them. So because you can see that the wings and all have those little swirls, and the wings themselves are white too. So if I printed this out on a white cardstock, it just all got lost. So I decided to add a little bit of a blue background in it, and I think it just adds to the design. I really love how it turned out. Okay, so now I'm going to decorate these panels in here. And I have already prepared the pieces of cardstock to go on it. Okay, so onto the larger panels, the white piece of cardstock I'm using measures 4.5 by 3.25, and the starry one, the pattern paper, 3 by 4.25. Okay, and for the smaller panels, the white matte measures 4.5 by 2.25, and the star pattern paper measures 2 by 4.25. Okay, so I need 2 of each of these measurements that I've just given you. Okay, so this is the mats and layers stuck on. Obviously you can go ahead and decorate the back of the card as well if you wish. I just chose to decorate the front only because this is how the card will be displayed at any point anyway. Okay, so the next things I will add is these floating little fairies on the pieces of acetate. So I have taken 2 pieces of acetate, and these are I actually just hand cut them, eyeballed. It's about 1/2 inch by 1 3/4, 1.5 by 1/2 inch would be fine, something in around there. And I have 2 little fairies to go in there. Okay, so first of all I'm going to add the fairy onto this end of the acetate. Okay, so when I put the tape on the acetate, I made sure it will be facing this way because I'm going to be tucking it onto this 1/2 inch of an overhang in here. So somewhere right down here, like so. I'm going to press it down. And that's one of the fairies. It's lovely and floating. Now the same for the other fairy, only this one will be coming from this side of the card, so I will have to glue or tape it to the left side of the acetate strip. Somewhere on towards the top of the card, like so. Okay, so when you're closing the card, just make sure that you kind of tilt it backwards a bit and then pull it up to make sure the little fairies that are flying there will go and hide behind the front panel, because this can happen, the fairies coming out in there, and there's nothing wrong with this, I mean, but before you give the card to anyone, you don't really want to ruin that surprise. So now I have some more other decorations to go on. So this little fairy will be flying over in the top corner, and I'm just going to add some glue onto the sides that I know will be touching the frame. I don't want to add glue anywhere else because then it will just stick to the front panel of the card, like so. Now I have a little fairy eyes to go in here in this corner, like so. Now I did cut out a piece of grass, and for this I just used an old die that I have. I don't even know where is this from, any kind of a die would work, or you can hand cut some grass and just add it in here. It's just a bit longer than what I need, so I'm just going to cut some of this off. Fairy that will be sitting in the grass just beside the little toys. That's cute. Love this. Now I will be decorating this, adding a few little flowers just alongside the bottom and some stars on the top. These are again from the same clip art. bit to hold it. That's why I will be removing this bit, and I will be adding my printed message when I'm ready to give this card. Or okay, so because I don't want it to get too bulky, I will remove this piece of paper and just add the printed message when the card is ready to be gifted. So this will just slide into them. Just trying to be careful because the new wardrobes are not quite dry yet. So just, and this is the card ready. All I have to do is stick the name on when I'm ready to be gifting it. So let me just put this note card back in here. That's it, the card ready. I think they look absolutely beautiful. I bring the orange one in as well. Let me bring the last one in as well. So these two obviously haven't got the names on them yet. I will be adding that when the cards will be gifted. This one is completed with the name. This is what they all will look like, only the name will be color coordinating again with the cardstock. I think these are absolutely beautiful. They are really not hard to make. They look complicated, yet they are so easy to put together, honestly, and they really are showstoppers. So guys, I really hope you liked my video today, and if you did, please give me the thumbs up and follow my channel, hit the notification bell. I will be coming back with more beautiful videos, tutorials, not only cards, other crafty bits as well. So until the next time, bye!